lighting. And I'd like to call forth our chalice lighter, Esme Allen. Esme is in 3rd grade, and she loves collecting shells and reading, and I'm going to guess she loves Christmas too. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. Please join me in saying our opening words as we light our chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn. It's number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
Our call to worship this morning is entitled, We Come from a People Bound for Freedom, adapted from the work of the Reverend Joan Javier Duval, who is the minister at the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, Vermont. We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of orthodoxy.
William Ellery Channing, a white Unitarian minister, declared reason and conscience as our guides.
John
Murray,
a white Universalist minister who survived a shipwreck and preached the gospel of love.
Eleanor Gordon, a white Unitarian minister, part of a prophetic sisterhood of women bringing progressive religion and values to small towns and villages, and the first minister of this church 113 years ago.
We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of racial supremacy.
Nathan Johnson, a black Universalist in New Bedford, Massachusetts, sheltered Frederick Douglass on his first night of freedom.
James Reeb, a white Unitarian minister from the North, answered the call to march from Selma to Montgomery and was met with the violence of white supremacists. His death further catalyzed the passage of the Voting Rights Act.
Esai Barnwell,
Esai Barnwell,
a Black Unitarian Universalist, founded the Jubilee Singers, the first Black-led Unitarian Universalist gospel choir, as well as Sweet Honey in the Rock.
We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of patriarchy.
Olympia Brown,
Olympia Brown,
a white Universalist, fought to be admitted to seminary and became the first woman ordained by a denomination in the United States, and campaigned for women's suffrage until the 19th Amendment was finally ratified.
Frances Ellen Watkins Harper,
Frances Ellen Watkins Harper,
a Black Unitarian who spoke to the National Women's Rights Convention, insisting to the largely white-led suffragists that Black women and men must not be ignored in the movement for equal treatment.
Sylvie Teigeson,
Sylvie Teigeson,
a white Unitarian, helped to open one of the first birth control clinics in St. Paul, Minnesota, 50 years before birth control became legal.
We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of all that dehumanizes and separates us from our dignity and sacred worth.
Dorothea Dix,
Dorothea Dix,
a white Unitarian, visited the cells of the mentally ill, bringing to light their mistreatment and working to establish humane hospitals and just laws.
Martha and Waitstill Sharp,
Martha and Waitstill Sharp,
white Unitarians, worked in secret to secure passage for those persecuted by the Nazis in Europe, saving hundreds of lives.
Zach Walls,
Zach Walls,
a white Unitarian who was raised by two moms and spoke out against Iowa's attempt to ban same-sex marriage, advocated for gender equality in the Scouts of America, and is now running a progressive campaign for Senate.
We continue today as truth tellers in our time.
We continue today as barrier breakers in the here and now.
We continue today as peacemakers and troublemakers for this moment.
We are bound for freedom,
building on foundations laid before us. Let us give thanks.
And now, let's take a moment to greet one another.
Can you hear it? Okay, I couldn't hear it. All right, cool. Good morning, everybody. Wow. All right, do I have any children and youth or young at heart who would like to join me up here for the Time for All Ages? I was just saying that I often don't know who I've got here until I turn around for the Time for All Ages, because when I sit down, there may be no children in the room. So. And look, there are children in the room. This morning, we are reading a book called Say Something by Peter Hamilton Reynolds. So I have to read and show at the same time. So if I don't get it flipped around, it will be up here. The world needs your voice. Mine? Mine? Can you see mine? Yes, yours. Go ahead. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as it's from your heart. You don't have to be loud. Powerful words can be a whisper. You can say something so many ways, with words, with action, with creativity. If you see someone lonely, say something by just being there for them. It's not working for me. If you see an empty canvas, say something with your brush. If you see an empty lot, say something by planting a seed and watching it bloom. If you see someone being hurt, say something by being brave. Hey, stop! You all do that? Hey, stop! One more time. 1, 2, 3. Hey, stop! If you see something beautiful, say something with a poem. You all write poems? If you have a brilliant idea, say something with confidence. If you want to show the world who you are, say something with style. Who's got style in this room? I can see, yeah. Lisa Marie. If you are angry, say something to help people understand. You make me feel uncomfortable. That really hurt. I'm really sorry. If you see an injustice, say something peacefully. For instance, no more hurting anyone. Inspire others to do the same. Sometimes you'll say something and no one will be listening. But keep saying what is in your heart, and you will find someone who listens. Keep saying it, and you will may be surprised to find the whole world is listening. If you are grateful for being alive, quietly say something to the stars, to the universe. We have any mountains that high in Florida? Some people find it is easier to say something than others. But everyone has something to say. So when you're ready, on the count of 3, everybody, 1, 2, 3, say something. Your voice can inspire, heal, and transform. Your voice can change the world. Are you ready to say something? All right, thank you for joining me. Now, if our families will please form a loving arch to sing our children out to the classroom this morning.
Good morning. Oh, wow. Thank you. That woke me up. My name's Michael Lewis, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. We invite you now into the practice of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values that sustains the life and ministries of the church community. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give, for it is a privilege to be able to do so. And let us be thankful for our needs, for they allow us to practice receiving. As it is the 5th Sunday of the month, our practice is that 100% of the offering today will be shared with BLUU, pronounced blue, which stands for Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Blue is committed to expanding the power and capacity of Black UUs within the Unitarian Universalism, providing support, information, and resources for Black Unitarian Universalists, and justice-making and liberation for Black people through our faith. 1U is honored to support the existence and efforts of Blue. Please give generously. Donations can be made several ways, by cash or check in the offering basket today, online through the 1U website, or directly to Blue through their website, found with the QR code on the screen. Be sure to let 1U's church administrator know that you do to ensure an accurate record. Today's full collection will go to Blue. Please give as generously as you can. The offering will now be collected. There we go. Note that you can give online. Let us joyfully receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship.
Thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Marie, and my Hungarian name is Lizsa. I'm the official artist in residence here at First Unitarian. I'm honored to be here, and I'm in my traditional Hungarian attire today because it is Fusion Fest this weekend. When I thought of meeting the moment, the thing that came to me was audacity. So the title of my poem is Audacious. Audacious faith, full of grace, seeks the light when I only feel nothing but darkness enveloping me. Becomes the love which I am meant to be even when I have no memory. Audacious faith, in the face of hate, loves the man who calls me enemy and insists on his humanity. Faith which breeds on the ability to know he's just like you and me. Audacious faith sees the inner light, sees the child behind his angry eyes, who asks for nothing but more playground time, who sees the seeker, the freer, the father, the lover, the teacher, and everything he's created to be. Faith waiting patiently for him to turn around and choose quietly on neutral ground. Audacious faith sees when I've been wrong, when my village says my revenge is justified, is sanctified, when their armies are poised to take back what is mine, leaves my sword at the feet of my oppressor, so I won't become her. To leave a legacy of peace over everyone's guaranteed safety. Audacious faith eschews a cheap grace, won't let me get away with giving only my thoughts and prayers every time a tragedy comes near, who jumps my feet into action, my heart into capture, a million inconveniences, casting off others' grievances, only knowing the only real enemy is apathy and despair. Audacious faith leads my heart to the marginalized, knowing I too will be discriminated for taking their side, willing to lose everything, knowing God will provide if I love my trans brother, if I stand up to help out the single mothers, the people of color, the immigrant, the unhoused, the incarcerated, the denounced, or anyone who doesn't agree with me or look like me, but says, I need your help. Knowing Spirit will provide not ease nor comfort, but a light to a new path, a new way for world peace, not for me. A peace I may never see, but is meant for all those behind me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that offering. This is the time we set aside for deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or help with, or have a joy that you wish to share, please contribute to our collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during worship. You can send an email to joysandsorrows@orlandouu.org during the week. If you're attending in person, you can also fill out a card at our registration table outside and hand it to an usher before the start of the service. We also hold a candle lighting ritual to hold our unspoken joys and sorrows. Bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come as you are. Your whole self is welcome in this sacred space we create together. Our flowers this morning are a beautiful arrangement offered by Catherine Vaccaro, celebrating the beginning of the season of Advent, solstice, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and so many other year-end celebrations. I have one here from Joan who says, "Hats off to Kathy and Greg for very gracious hosting of the post-Thanksgiving potluck on Friday." Kudos. I have one here where the person asked to be anonymous but offer it into our community's arms. "My wife admitted herself to rehab." And I have one from Charlotte who says, "When one gives, there needs must be a recipient. And when one receives, in the best of human exchanges, there is a giver. One casts one's bread upon the waters, freely giving with no thought of future gain. Recently, I cast my need upon the waters of this community. I did not drown. Your love bore me to a safe shore. My gratitude to you is great, and my belief in giving is greater." Thank you, Charlotte. That's so beautifully written. As we do every week, we continue to hold our communities and our country with care, and the world with our compassion, acting for justice in all of the small and large ways that will bend the arc of the universe towards justice. We remember that the arc is long. And for all the joys and sorrows of this community shared today, and for those held close to our hearts, let us pray, let us celebrate, let us send each other healing energy. On the second Sunday of each month, we enjoy together a candle lighting ritual, but on all other Sundays, we'll practice a call and response. So please join us by replying with the words that can be shown on the screen. Let us light one candle for joy, one for sorrow, and one for the mystery and unknown that lies before us. May these flames hold all that we bring into this circle of care. This first candle is for all the joys in our hearts, for the beauty and wonder of this world that holds us. This second candle is for the sad and difficult happenings in our lives, for grief over the losses we have borne. Let this flame remind us that we need not carry them alone. Hold one another in compassion and care. The third candle is for all that remains unknown, a flame of mystery and possibility. Together, these three flames, joy, sorrow, and mystery, burn as one. Let them remind us that whatever we bring into this circle of care, we are held in a greater light, and we do not journey alone. May it be so. Good morning again. I'm the Reverend Kierstin Homblette Allen. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as an affiliated minister with this congregation, which means that most Sundays I have the privilege to sit in the pews with my family and be ministered to by Reverend Margalie and our amazing worship team. And then every once in a while, I'm honored to get to lead worship with you myself. You see, I'm a Unitarian Universalist minister, but my day-to-day ministry is not in a specific church, but instead for our larger denomination. Earlier this year, I took a position with our Unitarian Universalist Association, and I'm serving as the Meet the Moment Program Manager. Thank you. In this new role, I have the opportunity to develop programming and resources that serve many congregations and Unitarian Universalists across North America. And if this phrase, meet the moment, is sounding familiar to you, that's not a coincidence. Meet the Moment is our congregation's theme for this year, but it is also a movement-wide framework we're developing, helping Unitarian Universalists to analyze, discern, and take strategic, faithful action in response to today's religious, cultural, generational, and political realities. If there were ever a political reality that needed some strategic, values-based action, it's this one, right? In my role, I have the incredible privilege of working with a friend of mine, the Reverend Ashley Haran, who is the UUA's Vice President for Programs and Ministries, and also the Chief Strategist for Meet the Moment. We're working together to lift up stories about Unitarian Universalist congregations meeting the moment today. And I want to share one with you. It comes from the congregation that Ashley belongs to in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'm going to share it with you in her words. In March of 2022, the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers entered round-the-clock negotiations with the school district, trying to land a fair contract before the deadline. They were fighting for the things all good educators do: smaller classes, more services for students, fairer pay for teachers and support staff. Now, we are an emphatically pro-union, pro-labor family, and so we followed this news closely, celebrating any small wins. At the same time, my partner and I were quietly panicking. It was 2 years into COVID, just over a year since the schools had reopened in person, and I could still feel in my body the lingering dread from those early days of the pandemic, barely managing to keep a professional face on through unending hours of Zoom meetings, while also trying to entertain a wiggly 5-year-old and nurse my infant just off camera. 2 years later, we had relaxed back into a more sustainable pattern, we thought. Our toddler went to a wonderful daycare. Our older kid was thriving in her first grade Montessori classroom. But no matter how much we supported the teachers' union, the prospect of an open-ended strike with no childcare again while working full-time from home pushed me to the edge of despair. But then, a couple of days before the deadline, we got an email from the Director of Spiritual Growth for All Ages at our congregation, First Universalist Church of Minneapolis. In it, she basically said, "Hey, families, we know there's a strike looming, and we're guessing that might be kind of hard for you to cope with right now. So just wondering whether it might be helpful for us to plan a strike camp at church. Kids, kindergarten through 8th grade, can come for the day. The high school students and religious education staff will put together a program. We'll ground everything in our UU values. We'll sprinkle in a dash of progressive labor movement history, and we'll take cookies to the picket line during lunchtime every day. Feel free to send a donation, but also if you can't, we understand this is just part of the ministry we feel called to provide. Is anyone interested?" Well, friends, by the time the strike was actually declared, there were 25 children signed up, along with 3 adult teachers and 10 high schoolers. Those teachers bundled up and set up their picket lines across the city, and I left my sweet, high-energy first grader in the care of my beloved church, where they welcomed her by name and swept her away to play and learn and connect for the full day, no strings attached. And then they did the same thing the next day, and the next, and the next, and the next, until finally, 18 days after the strike began, the union finally won, and their demands were met, and school went back into session. Ashley concludes by saying, "Beloveds, I have been a UU my whole life. I've sat through thousands of hours of religious education and worship services and potlucks and covenant groups and general assemblies, and I've even mastered divinity according to my seminary degree. But I have never felt so directly seen and held and ministered to by my faith and my congregation than I did in those 18 days. When someone asks me why I'm a Unitarian Universalist, I tell this story. Not because I think every congregation should be able to pull a strike camp out of thin air, but because it's such a powerful example of what it looks like when a community is grounded and nimble and courageous enough to fully, faithfully meet the moment they are actually in." This story of Ashley's reminds me of you, actually, of this amazing congregation where I was lucky enough to be raised, and the way that we, showed up in the days following the massacre at Pulse. How, when the moment came, we didn't hesitate, we didn't perseverate, we immediately opened our doors to the community. We served as a hub for folks needing mental and spiritual care. The queer and trans community was willing to trust us with their pain and sorrow after we had shown up for them and with them for years and years. Often one of the only religious communities unabashedly welcoming and loving queer and trans people, led ourselves for decades by openly lesbian and gay clergy or fierce allies. In that moment, when it was needed, we were grounded and nimble and courageous, and fully, faithfully meeting the moment we were in. A big piece of my work is to keep asking, how can Unitarian Universalism meet this moment? And by Unitarian Universalism, I mean us as a national UUA staff, but I also mean, what does it look like for UU organizations to meet this moment? What does it look like for the First Unitarian Church of Orlando and all of our other 1,000 UU congregations across the United States to meet this moment? Our congregations everywhere are trying to figure out how to support trans refugees and respond to ICE raids, how to retool their fundraising or budget processes for new times, how to minister to the real spiritual needs of families and children just trying to survive in this moment. When these same patterns and trends exist, not just in one congregation, but in hundreds, we have to pay attention, and not just individually, but all of us, members and leaders and congregations who are together, collectively, the stewards of this faith in these times and for the future. Now, moving collectively and strategically as a people does not always come naturally to us. But the stakes right now are too high for us not to be as coordinated and strategic and aligned as we possibly can be. We know that our values are an antidote to fascism, to extractive capitalism, to xenophobia and anti-trans violence and climate devastation. We also know that we will have to evolve ourselves, to sunset what's no longer serving us well, to deepen into what is working, and to innovate new solutions with courage and creativity. And we know we will have to do it together. Over the past year, Ashley and myself and many other UUA staff and leaders have been developing containers and tools to make real faith-wide collaboration and experimentation and courageous risk-taking more possible. At our UUA General Assembly this past June, we debuted this Meet the Moment framework, a set of resources and processes designed to build shared analysis about the terrain we are navigating, to identify the most urgent and important needs and opportunities that are arising, and to discern how our UU values are calling us to respond, and ultimately to design courageous, impactful strategies that we can try together. We've created a toolbox of these resources and facilitation guides for leaders to host their own Meet the Moment conversations about the issues that are most pressing in congregations and communities. We have also launched wave cohorts, or small groups that are focused on a particular pressing issue within our faith community to bring our collective values to the process of shared analysis and strategy. I've shared information about all of this with Reverend Margley. You can also check it out yourself at uua.org/meetthemoment, where this QR code will take you. I also want to invite leaders of this congregation to explore the Meet the Moment framework more deeply with me at a workshop here at 1U this coming Saturday, where I'm going to use you like guinea pigs to try out some of these resources in real time. No guinea pigs will be harmed in the process. So check out the weekly update or your email for more details about this. I would love to see you there. But right now, I want to preview for all of us the 3 questions that are at the heart of this Meet the Moment framework. And I think that all of us, every committee, the board, the congregation, need to be asking these questions as we try to figure out what we want to do and who we are called to be in these times. So number 1, what is the moment we are in? Knowing Unitarian Universalists, it should be no surprise that we don't all share a common analysis of what's actually going on. And without that, it's very hard to decide on a unified response. So we have to actually spend the time to grapple with the realities together intentionally. We have to listen deeply to how we are each experiencing this moment and work towards some level of shared understanding and analysis of it. We have to be honest about what's really going on for us and around us, even when we are terrified or grief-stricken or in denial about what it means for us and for our neighbors. Facing reality, really facing the enormity of the times we are living through is not for the faint of heart. There are some very daunting challenges facing our planet, our nation, and our faith, and this congregation as well. But as the great Black American cultural critic and philosopher James Baldwin reminds us, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. This is the time to go deep, to be curious, to seek real data, and to not be afraid of the answers we might find when we ask the right questions together. Once we've developed a shared understanding and analysis about the moment we're in, we can begin to ask the second question. What are the most urgent needs and important opportunities of this moment? At the national level, we're asking this question for the whole faith. And let me tell you, we have long lists of answers as we look at various pieces of our work, at our 1,000-member congregations, and at the political and religious realities of this time. Our wave cohorts are places that are designed to ask what the most urgent and important needs are for their particular topic, be it congregational risk management or whole church ministry or racial justice work. Here at 1U, I hope you are and will be asking what the most pressing needs and the most promising opportunities are in our context, for the city of Orlando, for this congregation, for the ministries you're already doing and will be called to do in the time ahead. What rises to the top of the priority list among the many needs and opportunities of this time for us as a congregation in the here and now? Whether it's our RE committee or the entire staff of the UUA, I can tell you from experience that whatever list of needs and opportunities we come up with is going to be way too long. And we're not going to have the people power and the money and the time to do anything, anywhere near everything. We will not all immediately agree, surprise, about which things to prioritize, nor how to best move forward once we've made some choices. So what do we do then? Well, we could continue to do things the way we've always done them. That's an option. We could let anxiety jump in the driver's seat and try to do everything at all at once, even if it means we do everything poorly. We could freeze in the face of overwhelm, which for us Unitarian Universalists often looks like putting up some bureaucratic red tape and having some internal fights about long drawn-out deliberations about things that don't really matter. Or we could spend some time in true discernment together and answer our third grounding question. What are our shared values calling us to do in response to this moment? When Ashley's congregation conceived of offering a strike camp for their kids, it was because the leadership had a shared analysis about what was happening around them and the assets that their congregation had available to offer. They identified the urgent need and the important opportunity that the context was presenting to them, and then they dug deep and asked, what are our UU values calling us to do? Not have we ever done this before, not do we know how to do this perfectly, but what are we being called to do in this moment? Interdependence, justice, transformation, love. How does our church with those values meet this moment? And then they did it together. We don't yet know what we are being called to do and be and become. But Unitarian Universalists are already leading into the possibilities. And every day in my job, I get to hear stories about UUs meeting this moment in bold, creative, faithful ways. Our inspiration need not only lie in the past with our spiritual ancestors, who we lifted up in our call to worship this morning, but like our congregation's response in the wake of Pulse, Unitarian Universalists all over are meeting this moment in the here and now. I'm thinking about the small congregation in Mississippi that offers an opportunity to attend Our Whole Lives, our comprehensive sexuality education program, to the people in the entire state as a public ministry. I'm thinking of the fellowship in Idaho that partners with a local trans-led organization to host a Trans Joy Cafe. I'm thinking of a North Carolina congregation that does a campus-wide, multi-generational religious education event instead of traditional worship on the fourth Sunday of every month. Or the Colorado congregation that does what they call 4x4 gatherings, where 4 longtime members host 4 new folks for dinner as a part of their path to membership. Or the suburban New Jersey church that's putting big money toward a reparations-rooted microloan program for people of color-owned businesses and organizations in the urban center that they fled during white flight in the 60s. The threats and challenges are immense, but so are the opportunities. The world, in all its beauty and brokenness, is inviting us to show up with all of the clarity and boldness we can muster. Unitarian Universalism is ready to meet this moment, courageously, skillfully, and with love at the center. May each of us find our part in that work, and may what we do and build together, guided by love, be a joyful, life-saving gift to our beautiful, broken world. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace will stride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the dark night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace will stride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
I want to offer gratitude for your patience with my voice today. It's been a season, buddy. Our Unitarian Universalist values have always pushed our people to show up, to risk, to struggle for justice and liberation and radically inclusive communities centered in love. The heart of our faith transcends cultural shifts and political trends. But at key moments throughout the centuries, our religious ancestors have also been willing to transform themselves and their faith to meet the needs of the moment, to let go of what no longer serves, to open to new possibilities, to seize opportunities, and to lean into aspiration and innovation. At our best, Unitarian Universalists are both deeply grounded in our core values and shared commitments, and nimble enough to respond to the challenges and opportunities that emerge in rapidly changing times. May we meet this moment boldly, creatively, faithfully, and lovingly together. Beloveds, our worship has ended, and now the service truly begins. For our call to action this week, I invite you to join me and Reverend Margalie this coming Saturday from 10 to 1:30 at our Meet the Moment workshop for leaders. Ministry leads, committee leads, board members, and anyone who is inspired to help lead our congregation in meeting the moment together is very welcome. Thank you.
Please say these words with me as we extinguish this flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry into the world until we are together again.